Hello and afternoon to everybody. And nice to see so many of you who were spending 2.5 hours with me yesterday on Rabble Palooza in here as well, including the man next to me who almost got himself a belt last night, but was pipped by the incorrigible Ian Thompson. Is Craig? How are we doing, Craig?
Still gutted after last night. I managed to catch most of it, and I thought I was going to pull it out the bag, but yeah, that damn Ian Thompson got the better of me. But I will have my revenge at some point. Apart from that, all good. I've had the week off work, which has gone by too quickly. Haven't got really anything done that I was planning to do, apart from going to the barbers this morning, which was on the list. But yeah, I would like to say looking forward to a Rangers weekend, but who am I kidding?
Yeah, we'll get into it because we're going to talk about the press conference as well. We may well be joined by Willie. The reason we're a little bit late is I just assumed that Martin was going to set things up for us and whatnot for today, and there was nothing there, so I had to quickly do it and then get Craig and Willie sent the stuff. Willie not being in any of the chat groups at the moment, that was a bit difficult, but hopefully we've done it, and if he joins, he joins. If he doesn't, it's just me and Craig. It's fine. Hello to everyone in there. I can see that Scott Kearney's in there. How's Scott doing? AI Taylor's in, Colin Kirk, Sniper, Mel's in there. Handyman, obviously, saying good afternoon, everyone. Today, then, Craig, was press conference day, and I hope you watched it. I know Alan Brown, who was meant to be on, watched it, but he's not
Yes,
on.
I have watched the Liam Kelly one, and I've watched the majority. Actually, I got most of the quotes from the Russell Martin one. I was just watching it while having my lunch. Got most of it watched, but I'm sure we'll get into it. Yeah, it was very, very early again, which I'm not too sure whether that's on purpose at the minute or whether they're doing it just on hand. But yeah, we'll get into it and dissect it a little bit.
Colin Matthey, no, he's not. But yeah, we'll get into it. We'll do it now because let's get the first of the depressing stuff out of the way. I know that Russell Martin can speak well. We know he can because he had 7 interviews and managed to get himself a job at Ibrox. So we know he can speak well, and he does speak well. He doesn't raise his voice, he doesn't shout, he doesn't scream. I still got the feeling from that press conference, Craig, that it was like, I ignore the noise, I don't care, I'm doing what I want to do, and it will work. I promise you it will work. I'm not going to change, because if I change, then I'm not being me. It's the same stuff week in, week out now. Nothing's changing.
I went into it thinking, right, put my feelings aside, I'll listen to it with a level head, take on board what he's saying, and you are right, it was a lot of the same stuff that he keeps coming out with. And at one point in the press conference, I swore quite loudly because there was a little comment that he made, and I just went, "You're not really helping yourself with these little smarmy comments that you make," and obviously being very stubborn, which a lot of football managers are. That's the way most of them are over their careers. They stick to what they think is right, and damn be told if it's not. But yeah, he doesn't really help himself with what he's saying. He does speak very well, and that is obviously something that a lot of ex-players, especially over the last 15, 20 years, they are well spoken in interviews because they're media trained to within an inch of their life. So he's always going to speak well, but there's just a little bit that he comes out with, a little remarks, and I'm like, you're not really helping your case, mate. No, and I've just said one of the things that he comes out with, which is very annoying.
But one of the things, and obviously the big news from this week, apparently in Scotland, is the fact that Rangers went for a walk and a swim. So off they went to Loch Lomond to have a little walk and a swim around. Russell Martin was obviously inundated with questions in a press conference about it, because why ask questions about football when you can ask questions about going out on a team bonding exercise, which is nothing unusual. It does happen. Reports said that he wasn't there, Russell Martin himself. That's what I'd heard, that he wasn't there, but the squad and the coaching team where he wasn't. But in the press conference, he says he was there, and it's the first walk he's had in a while, and it hurts. And he saw some good things from the walk, and not everybody went in the swim, but the picture made it look like they were all in the water. And then he said he's been in bed all week, ill.
Yeah, he said he'd been
I
in.
don't know what he's saying on that, but I mean, is there a big issue that they took the players out to Loch Lomond for a swim and a run? Not really.
No, and he was right. He did say something which I did agree with in the press conference, that if Rangers were winning games of football, no one would be mentioning this. No one would be mentioning the fact that he's taking them out for a walk and for a swim. He did say that he'd been ill end of last week, and that was why at the press conference after the match he looked a little bit dishevelled because he'd been in bed for a couple of days. He said at one point he was going to sit down because he felt it after about 60 minutes. He didn't do that because he said it wouldn't have been a very good look, which I kind of agree with. But he said he had been unwell for a couple of days, and he said he was at the walk on Monday. He did clarify that.
Yeah, I mean, Wilf, we're just talking about the fact that we've gone for a walk and a swim this week, and it seems to be huge news because people went for a walk and a swim, and obviously one of the main focus points of the press conference today. It doesn't bother me. I think it's a good idea. He's gone for a team bonding exercise, and nothing wrong with that. Everyone does it. It's just the way he talks about it, and he was at points as well quite flippant with the press in regards to it. Because I remember him saying toward the end of it, "Well, we've been for a walk and a swim, so the anxiety's gone now."
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've never really worked for an organisation that does the team bonding thing. It's not really been anything I've had experience of myself. But if you want to do team bonding, surely, you do something where they actually have to interact with each other. I mean, if we as a podcaster go for a walk, right, the guys that are comfortable in each other's company will walk together because that's what happens, right? Maybe 2 or 3 new people would be sort of out the back on their own, kind of getting to know each other. Whereas for me, if you're doing team bonding, it should be something like, I don't know, building a raft or doing an army assault course, or, an escape room, and you split them into teams and you go, right, see, you British guys, you're all really pally. I know you European guys, you're all really pally. I'm being just general here, right? And the guys that came from such and such a league, you're all really pally. Well, what we'll do is we'll split you all up into different teams of 4 or 5. So you have to interact with guys that you wouldn't normally interact with other than on the pitch. Because if you go for a walk, Liam Kelly's going to stand speaking to Jack Butland because the goalkeepers union are going to stay together, right? The midfield players might all walk together. You want to split them up a wee bit, so you can't really do that for me if you go for a walk. But it's been blown out of proportion because, quite frankly, we're rubbish. Right? If we were flying high at the top of the league, nobody would care if they went up Connacht Hill into Loch Lomond, or if they sat in the steps bar getting bloated. Nobody would really care.
No, they wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. As long as they're winning games, they can do what they want. But Craig, they talked about the fact, and there's been mentions of it in here. Multiple man saying it there is just as I went to click on it as well. What concerned me is he sounded very confident. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about the fact that Kavanagh's coming over to watch the game, and other things with Patrick Stewart, and he was saying that they haven't been very good with me. I knew that Kavanagh was coming weeks ago. It does still sound that Russell Martin is a man who's fairly secure in his role at the club, and that maybe even a negative result this week doesn't have an effect.
He's going to really, he's not really going to come out and say, yeah, I'm scared for my job. He's going to come out and display confidence, because otherwise the media would just have a field day in that respect. If he come out and said, actually, they tried to get Liam Kelly a little bit on that with some of their idiotic questions, which was nothing out of the ordinary, around feeling scared and anxious. But yeah, he's going to come out and say, yeah, I'm really confident, and what I think is going to work eventually. They didn't really ask him about Kavanagh. I think he shut that down quite quickly in terms of saying, yeah, it's been planned for weeks that he was going to be coming over. He always seems to have, in a way, the answer for what they're coming up with, and maybe that's the way he comes across with his media training. But yeah, he didn't look like the man who is potentially one bad result, whether that's this weekend or in a few weeks, away from everything all going tonto.
Yeah, again, like we said at the start, Wilf, I'll take you off mute because it's just a little bit of an echo on your thing. he does seem confident in his job. Whether someone has said it in there that either he's deluded or he has been told he's going nowhere no matter what. We're going to stick to the plan. Who knows what's going on in that sense? He's said he's blocking out the noise from the protests. He knows it's going on, but he doesn't know much about it. I can't see anything if he loses this weekend that other than playing against teams in an empty Ibrox from here on in, he can't save his job surely this weekend.
I think if he wins this weekend, he can't save his job. He's only one defeat away from. It's the same thing that happened with with Hillcombe Open. We lost that Scottish Cup tie, which we don't really like to talk about. They said, they backed 2 weeks later. They had to sack him because he had a bad result again. He's won. Russell Martin could beat Hibs, could then beat Genk, could then beat Livingston, could then go over to Austria, beat Sturm Graz. He could go on all sorts of crazy runs, winning games of football, and then they lose the game and everybody says, "See, we told you it wasn't going to work." You know what I mean? So all they're doing is kicking the can down the road. So there's only 2 scenarios, I think, why he's still there. Either it's because they've got a replacement in mind and can't get him yet, and they want to just, because they can't go with interim managers, they'll have to bring a manager in. And there's nobody currently at the football club, I don't think, that could, step up and steady the ship, because the youth coaches, I don't think, what would you do? Give us Dave McCallum? You say, look, Dave, take the team for a couple. He's had the shot at that wasn't particularly great for the game that he had a couple of managerial appointments ago. Or the other reason is they've got somebody in line, and Andrew Cameron landed late last night in Glasgow. So I think he strikes me maybe the type of guy that wants to do his business face to face. So I'm thinking today's too close to tomorrow, so he'll wait till after the game tomorrow. Irrespective of how it goes, he'll hand Russell Martin a box and say, "Put your stuff in there, and we'll see you later on." That's the only 2 scenarios I can think of. But I mean, I could be wrong. He may well have been given assurances. Russell Martin may well, because he was very confident in his press conference today. He may very well be given assurances that, look, it doesn't matter what happens. We've got a project here. We said we'd make it work. We'll make it work.
Yeah, he may well have done. Like I said, we don't know what goes on in the background, but Handyman makes a very good point. Once Cameron sees how amazing they are in training, I'm sure he'll be impressed, because we obviously train really, really well. But Test Video has come in with a question. Just so I can see it, can you make your Q's capital? It's really picky, but can you just make it, because that could have been a sort of inverted face sticking its tongue out. So make it a big Q for me so I can see it. But Craig, can he turn it around? Do you think there's any signs or anything that tells you that, actually, he could turn this around?
That's a difficult question, because technically, yes, he can turn it around. Yes, it is possible, because the team could win the next 15, 20 games in a row, and suddenly a defeat or a draw doesn't then become a big issue because he's gone on a run. The question is, will he turn it around? I still believe no, he can't. No, he won't, because like Will said, they're in the position now where we were with Clement, we were with Beale, we were to a point with Gio where he could win 4 or 5 games in a row, and the first game that goes bad, we all say, "See, told you was shit," and it's not going to work. Those are two slightly different questions. It is possible, but it is very, very unlikely, and I still firmly believe that it won't happen. Whether it's end of day tomorrow, Monday, 2 weeks down the line, the manager will be losing his job at some point in the possibly near distant future.
We got another question. AI Taylor coming in this time with AC watch Saturday. I'm convinced he will set up not to lose against Hibs and hit on the counter to not make it look not as bad. Do you agree with that, Wilf? Much like Celtic, where he literally set up not to lose the game, and if he could get one on the break, happy days.
Yeah, he's got to look at it that our form company is absolutely guff, and it's a cup tie, so it's finished on the day. So basically, he can't afford to lose the game. He knows he can't afford to lose the game. So I think he will set up quite defensively and try and catch them on the break. My concern is if he sets up the way that he tends to set up, Hibs will have a field day, because Martin Boyle will exploit a high line. If we play a high line, I'm sorry, but Hibs will have an absolute field day because of the pace they've got up front. And if he doesn't, if he sets something like almost in a low block, everybody will look at it and go, well, he's trying not to lose. So he's on a hiding to nothing, whatever he does. Because if he sets up defensively, it will be so obvious, because it's totally alien to the way he sets a team up usually for us. So, but I mean, Sniper nailed it in the comments earlier, going back to the question he asked Craig, that yes, he can turn it around, but even if he does, the fans are finished with him. The fact that last Saturday the Hearts fans were singing sacked in the morning, and the Rangers fans that were left in the ground joined in, that tells you the support are finished. Because the ones that were left in the ground are those tolerant enough not to walk out when things got really, really bad, or we're only there to boo at the end. So the fact that they joined in with the Hearts fans singing getting sacked in the morning, on top of the fact that when we're in Bruges, the away the travelling away European support was screaming for this head. He's completely lost the support. You can't get that back. It doesn't matter what he does. He can go out tomorrow and take 8 off Hibs, and then have a great European result, and then hammer Livingston, as I said earlier, go on an amazing run. He's completely lost the support.
Yeah, I mean, Clement had similar, where he'd lost the support, but then he went on a little bit of a run. We kind of like, oh, okay, if this carries on, maybe. And then he lost one game or dropped points, and that was it. We were back to, right, he's got to go because we can't keep doing this. So, yeah, once you lose the support, it doesn't matter which club you're at, whatever. As soon as you lose the support, you are done. We can kind of segue into the Hibs game, as Wolf has mentioned them. So there was a question. There's been a couple of questions. Did he comment if Rothwell was fit? I can't remember him mentioning Rothwell at all in the press. I'd imagine not, because it didn't look good when he walked off last week against Hearts. I think that type of injury, even though he walked off, I think that's going to keep him out for quite a bit. And then to follow that up, Big Phil then said, so would it be Raskin, Asgard and Diamande for Hibs, Craig?
Well, he did say that Raskin's in the squad. He did say he's trained well this week and he's in the squad, although he did say a couple of weeks ago that Raskin had trained and he was nowhere near the team. So until I actually see that team sheet with Nicholas Raskin's name on it, I'm not going to hold out too much hope. I've got a feeling tomorrow Raskin will be on the bench. I don't want him to be. I would want Raskin to be playing in the team, but I think he'll still be trying to prove a little bit of a point. I'm trying to get into his head, which is not a good way of trying to do it, in that he'll put Raskin on the bench. So it'll probably be Asgard, Diamande. I don't know about Lyle Cameron. But I'm trying to think who else could play in the middle. Obviously not Rothwell. I'm struggling otherwise who could play.
Because Cameron's not fit, is he? Barron's about the only one that can
Barron,
come in.
yeah. I think it will be Barron, Asgard and Diamande if I'm going to pick the team now.
So that covers Ali Sullivan's as well. Well, do you agree with Kate? Do you think that Nico will be on the bench, or do you think he gets a start in breath just because Rothwell's out injured and he seemed to pull Barron off when he had real no need to do it last week?
He had no need to do it last week, but Barron wasn't in his best game. To be fair to the manager, Rothwell came in and we played a bit better in the 6 minutes he was on the park before he injured himself. Let's not get away from it. He injured himself. He wasn't tackled. He injured himself. I don't know what he did. He just managed to injure himself. But
he seemed to crumple.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree with Craig. I think Raskin, he said he's in the squad. I expect him to be on the bench. I think to Russell Martin that'll be a compromise. Look, he's in the squad. I've said he's trained well. He's available for no other reason than we're short of midfield players. Because if Rothwell is out, which we think he is, Lyle Cameron, what struck me today in the press conference, nobody asked him for a squad update. They just said, is Nico Raskin available? From what I remember of the press conference, when I listened to it earlier,
that's right.
Nobody said, is there a squad update? It was just, is Nico Raskin playing?
That's right.
We don't know if Rothwell's available. We don't know if Cameron's available. We don't know if anybody else is injured. So, but for me, the most important thing is who he plays in defence, because after last Saturday, he can't possibly start with Nasser Giga because he was hopeless last night. He was an absolute bomb scare last Saturday. He's got to start for me with Cornelius and Suter in defence tomorrow. Just has to.
Yeah, that would be the way I would be looking at it until De Giga can get some confidence back. Because when he first came in, he looked like the better of the defenders that we'd actually brought in. To your point that there was no mention at all of a squad update. It was all the whole press conference was literally centered around Loch Lomond, and Nico Raskin, and with a couple of bits of Kavanagh. So we're in the dark as well as everybody else. So just watch this space tomorrow when they come and play it. But obviously we are playing Hibs tomorrow, Craig, who are on the up. They're the Edinburgh teams, both of them, both on the up, both back to now, but pretty well. I'm not sure how their season's really gone. I don't really pay that much attention. Unless I know I'm doing the SPFL show, then I'll watch everything. But that front line and the way we play for Hibs terrifies me. Absolutely terrifies me, because Boyle will destroy us for pace. And Bowie is on a hell of a scoring streak and form right now.
Yeah, just having a quick look. Hibs are third on 6 points, which doesn't really say a lot, because obviously Hearts and Celtic are well ahead. The best of the rest, really. I was up for the game in April when we played Hibs at home. Taking myself back to that day, because it was a horrible journey up and a horrible game to go and watch. And even that day, they took advantage of our poor defending. So we obviously haven't really improved over the last few weeks. And actually, if you could probably argue that the defending's gone backwards. I've got real worries if the manager goes the way he's been playing up to now. Then I agree with Will that, or yourself, Martin Boyle will have a field day. If he goes the other way and tries to go more the way he played against Celtic, it's going to look like he's going very defensive, which the fans aren't going to like playing at home. You could understand it to a point if we were playing Hibs away and you're going with that sort of setup to hit them on the break. You can't really do that at home. You're gonna have to go out and play, which unfortunately would probably play into Ball's hands. I don't really know otherwise how they've been getting on, because like you, I don't really keep an eye on. The fact they've got a goal difference of +1 tells me they probably haven't really had much in the way of goals. What 1 win and 3 draws in the league is just slightly better than us.
Just slightly better than us, but they can score goals. But they do seem to have a tendency to let them in at the back as well. So hopefully, but then if we're not getting shots on target, does it matter that they are rubbish at the back? Because if we're not creating chances, we won't score.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've had this discussion. Certainly, myself and my friends have had this discussion ad nauseum all week about it doesn't matter who we've got up front. If we don't create chances, we have to be more creative. We have to use the way. I mean, he's probably only going to roll one up front because that's what Russell Martin does. You know what I mean? It's probably going to be Bojan Majowski, because we know what he can do in the league. If it's not Bojan Majowski, Russell Martin has to look at himself, because I know we paid £8 million for another striker, but he's got absolutely no experience in Scotland. We know Majowski can score in this league. So he has to play somebody that he knows can do something in the scene, but we have to get the ball to. We have to work it through the middle, get it out wide. I mean, getting out wide is one thing, but getting good delivery in, because against Hibs, that Hibs defence is the land of the giants. I mean, they've got the big boy Rocky Bashiri, and then he wins absolutely everything in the air at both ends. So, you know, throwing high balls in if we get the ball out wide to Ant-Man or Gassama or whoever happens to play wide. We have to be clever, not just throw high balls in, because we try that, it doesn't work. And if we are going to be throwing high balls in, we need to have the midfield on the edge of the box, because the second ball drops. We're never ever there for the second ball. Playing against Hibs, you'll get second balls dropping the edge of the box, because they will win everything there.
Yeah, they will do. And the one thing we know, that Hibs will not come to sit back and hit us on the break. They will come and have a go at us. Getting more questions in all the time now, so let me get back to them. First one coming in from Singing the Blues. He's asking, will the old firm split the Edinburgh clubs this season? Which one of us will get in between Hearts and Hibs? Obviously, take that with a pinch of salt, because I still think come the end of the season, you'll probably find that Celtic win it. We still somehow manage to finish second, because that's just the way it goes. But
we don't finish in the top 4 if Russell Martin's still the manager at the end of the season.
Well, if he's still the manager, I don't think that we'll finish top 6, let alone top 4. But any part of the world that you can see the Edinburgh clubs winning the league and having the old firm split them, as opposed to the other way around, Craig?
No. Hearts will probably do what Aberdeen did last season, have a really good start to the season, and at some point their wheels will fall off, and their squad depth will come into it. If Russell Martin's still the manager at the end of the season, which I personally hope isn't the case, I think we'll just about scrape 4th, in which case obviously you'd have somebody up there. If we do finish fourth, Celtic will win the league, Hearts will probably come second, and maybe like a St Mirren will come third. I don't think Hibs will be up there or thereabouts, but hopefully calmer heads prevail and we get the manager out at some point and we go on a bit of a run with a new manager and then I can see us possibly comfortably finishing second.
Yeah. And then Wolf Janet's coming in saying, going back to Raskin, saying if Raskin doesn't start tomorrow, do you think we should just sell him? Even if it means ripping up his contract, can't have a Belgian international sitting warm in the bench. Now we get to January and he's still there and someone offers money that's worth taking. Yes, sell him if he's not going to sign a new contract. At that point, I don't think ripping up a contract and having a Belgian international walk away from the club for nothing, if we can avoid it, is the way forward. But do you get what Janet's saying?
I do. I would rather have him seeing out the last 2 years of his contract, and I'm walking for nothing rather than ripping up his contract and telling him he can leave now because we need him in the team. But I do get the point. As I said earlier, I don't think he'll start because it'll be a compromise for Russell Martin. He's in the squad, he's on the bench, he'll get some game time. That will save face all round. And Russell Martin said, I don't agree with that. He would be starting him because he's the best midfield player in the company, in my opinion. I think Nico Raskin apparently turned down moves away from the club at the end of the window. I think he's full on Andy Halliday. When Andy Halliday got shipped out the Baku on loan, he went knowing fine that he'd still be a Rangers player when the manager at that time had gone. I think Nico Raskin said, look, I don't really care what's happening to me here because come January, this manager isn't going to be here, or head coach, or whatever he is, because we still don't know what he is, because he's officially the head coach. He called himself the manager 3 times in the press conference. Mm-hmm. So is he the manager or is he the head coach? But anyway, Nico Raskin knows he'll outlast him if he stays, and he is here now for at least January. So Raskin probably he will outstay Russell Martin, and I think if they bring in a manager who can get the best out of Raskin, he will sign an extension of his contract because this year is massive for Nico because he's got a World Cup at the end of this season. And say we move on in January and he goes to Wolves, which is where he was, where he was supposed to be going the last day of the season, the last day of the window. It might not work for him in Wolves. January, February. He might not get into their team. That means he's not going to the World Cup. He knows if he stays here under a competent manager who can manage him as an individual, he'll play every week. And he plays every week. He's still going to get games for Belgium. He's going to get his dream of going to the World Cup with his company. Which, I'll be absolutely delighted to see for Nico, and that means it'll give me an interest because obviously Scotland won't be making it. So it'll give me an interest to watch while we're out there. We'll go with, I can answer this one fairly quickly. Handyman, the game does not go to extra time, just goes straight to penalties in the League Cup now. So it'll literally be, if it's a draw at the end, we'll have the indignity of penalties. Is the extra time was first game?
I thought it was just straight to penalties in the League Cup. No, there is extra time. God damn it.
That's only in England. That's only in the group stages when the bit that we don't play in because we're in Europe.
Oh yeah.
When they do that we daft league, if it's a draw, they go to penalties to get an extra point.
They've changed it in England. Yeah, they've changed it in England now.
So there's me trying to look intelligent and it all went wrong. So I will not try that ever again.
It could be a very, very, very long night.
It could be a very long night, but I don't think we'll get that far, so it's fine. I can answer part of this. I know that Stevie was not at the presser today because he said on Twitter he was at work. David may well have been there, but he does say that if he hasn't got a question to ask, he will just go, sit, do what he needs to do, and leave again. So I can't tell you if David was there. Stevie wasn't there.
I don't think he normally does the Fridays, though.
No, and it is early.
It could be he wasn't there. I know he does the match day ones, but it could be that I know Stevie wasn't there. But yeah, like you said, David might not have. He might have been there and just not spoke. But
even though Stevie wasn't there, it didn't stop Russell Martin mentioning
there was a little dig.
Dig at Stevie saying last week I was told that the team doesn't look coached when it is. So he knew that he wasn't there, so he had that little dig because he couldn't bite back. We'll go for this one though. Do you think that Chimiti starts on? Then Wolf, you've already said that you think it's going to be Miovski. Craig?
No, and I think it'll be Danilo that starts, to be honest. Personally, I would start. There's a team that I would pick, and there's a team that I think the manager will pick. And I think he will. Personally, I think Miovski needs the minutes. I think he needs the minutes to be in the team. Chimiti won't start. So I do think that he'll probably surprise us all. And and Danilo will come out of the cold.
And then, Wolf, you've already said it's Miovski for you. Question from Neil Anderson to wrap it all up. Is anyone concerned that Liam Kelly's a goalkeeper for tomorrow? Remember, at Easter Road, Hibs shipped 3 goals back in January. A high line would be a nightmare and leave us overly exposed. I'm not overly concerned that Liam Kelly's the goalkeeper. I know there was some chat in our Discord as well saying they can't start Liam Kelly. He started versus Alloa. He's the cup goalkeeper, so be it.
I don't subscribe to this cup goalkeeper nonsense. You're either the goalkeeper or you're not. If you've got the gloves, so to speak, then until you give him a reason not to have the gloves, then he should be the goalkeeper. But I would imagine part of the deal with Liam Kelly is he is the cup goalkeeper. So Liam Kelly is a very competent goalkeeper. He's played in the Scottish League for a long, long time. I mean, he mentioned today his time at Motherwell. I mean, he was Motherwell captain. He played really well for Motherwell for a number of years between the 2 spells at us. So I've got no problem with Liam Kelly. I'd be more concerned about what's in front of him. Depending on what, as you said earlier, depending on who he plays at the back. But Liam Kelly for me is a better goalkeeper with the ball at the street than Jack Butland. So if we're playing, Butland's a better shot stopper, a better goalkeeper all round. But for me, Kelly's slightly better with the ball at the street. So if we're playing that sort of game, I've got no problem with him being in there.
Well, I don't want to go too deep into it because I know tonight that they are doing I am assured, a half an hour preview of the Hibs game tomorrow. Place your bets now as whether that's going to be half an hour or more. 4 people on it, so I don't see how they can get all 4 opinions out in half an hour. So they'll probably still be here by kickoff tomorrow, still talking about it.
Be one question each.
Yeah, yes or no.
4 people, and one of them's Ash. Ash will be half an hour on her own.
Kenny's on there as well. So.
She's that insightful. She knows what she's doing. So that's the first half an hour of the show.
And what the other ones? One of the other ones is Kenny as well. I did say to him, why don't you just get Posh Stewart on and just be done with it and sit there all night? But no. So we'll leave it there. That's all there is for today, unless you've got anything else that you have seen or heard. But obviously, press conference day, that's all we've been waiting for. So, Craig, thank you very much for coming on, and Will for jumping in and saving the day. Because I don't know where Will is.
Apologies for the echo. I'm in the office. I'm going to shut the door, so everyone's just kind of echoing about.
Yeah, well, these things happen. It's all right. It's what they come for. It's what they come for, the professionalism that we give them. Tonight, like we say, we have that review show. I'm not sure if there's a gaming pod on as well. Just check your notifications as they come in and see what comes up for your members' stuff. And then it is the weekend and the game. We have to wait a very long time because it's the evening kickoff, but you will have your preview show. You will have your watch along with Alex. Go in and keep him company. Get him through it because it's hard when you're doing these things on your own and it's not going the right way. And then there will be a reaction video. Well done. Good job you're here, Craig.
I'm on the reaction as well.
So am I. It's me, you, and Martin, I think. So obviously we're going to get beat because Craig's on. So there we go. But thank you very much for being in. Thank you for all your questions. Don't forget on your way out to like and subscribe and to share. I usually tell Martin off for not putting that banner up, but we had so many questions and whatnot that there was no real space for it. But until later on this evening, we will see you somewhere else.